The views and opinions on The Craig L. Hayes Show do not necessarily reflect those of Westgate Resorts, ownership, or management. And now, on with the show.
Extra, extra, read all about it. Get your copies while they last. Stop the presses.
And now for something completely different.
Are you ready for a little truth? Are we not entertained? Wisdom is the proper use of knowledge and experience. There are no safe spaces here. The truth shall make you free. It's showtime! So you want the truth, but can you handle the truth? Well, here's another fine mess you've gotten us into. Now that's entertainment. Enlighten me a little. What you say is quite logical. And what did we learn? Prepare yourself for a little sensory overload. I came here for the truth. 47 years ago, stand by the roll show intro. Roll show intro in 3, 2, 1, go.
This is The Craig L. Hayes Show.
Hello, America, family, friends, and listeners all around this planet we call home. This is the Craig L. Hayes Show. I am Craig L. Hayes, and it is the 27th of April, 2025, and we are doing a show once again, as you heard from the disclaimer, at the Westgate Resort, Las Vegas, in Elvis Presley's dressing room. And right next door to where we're at sits Barry Manilow's dressing room, which is the two guys that have the most shows ever in this building. And we're so privileged to do this show right here, right now. And as a series of what it takes to put on a show backstage and all the work that goes into it and all the things we have to do. So we're going to jump right into it after I thank Cammie Christensen, the president of the hotel, for allowing us to do this show here. Dawn Rawl, she's the vice president of entertainment. And John Peer, the technical director for the hotel, for assisting, aiding, and allowing us to do this show. And we're so happy to be here, it's not even funny. Today, we're going to move on to a guy I've known for, oh my heavens, probably 25 years or so. And knew his dad a little bit longer. We'll even talk about his dad. We're going to talk trash about his dad, just so everybody knows. The little old gummer. So we're going to talk about him a little bit. We're going to talk about Beau. He's had quite the history of entertainment all over the world, doing all kinds of different things. And his name is Beau Doyle. Beau, welcome to the show.
Hey, it's good to be here. Man, that was one hell of an intro. I like that.
Did you like that music part there?
I like that, yeah. I like
cool.
Because people can't stand the truth.
Yeah, that's a lot of that. So, yeah, we are obviously moving on to talking about some of the stuff that we do here in show business. We're here in Las Vegas. You've been around the world. You've toured on a couple of shows. You've done many, many things. I know some of them, but I don't know all of them. So what we're going to do here first is get started with where'd you come from? Are you a Vegas boy?
Well, originally, that's a hard one. Because I was born in St. Louis.
Okay.
And I only lived there for the first 8.5 years of my life. Then I came out here to Vegas in November of 78. And I've grown up from then on out. So being here that long, they consider me a native of
You're
Vegas.
about as close as a native as you can be.
Yeah, right?
You've been here like 40 years, basically. So, 40 plus years. So.
Yeah, it's been quite some time.
Yeah, quite the change in this town, too, over the last 40 plus years. Where'd you go to school?
Out here, I went to, back then we had, you would go to elementary school and then you would go to a 6th grade center.
Yep.
And then you would do junior high and then high school. So I went for part of it at Vail Pittman, Booker for 6th grade, Garside Junior High, and then Bonanza High School, and then I went to UNLV.
Okay. So, you went to Booker for 6th grade center? Yeah, I went to Kit Carson.
Yes, yep.
So that was way back when, Kit Carson time, when they had the forced busing on all of us to,
Yes.
because the integration and stuff like that that they were doing.
Yes.
Yeah, it really didn't do anything for anybody other than just make people ride the bus all day and all night. So
Yep. Yep.
But anyways, so you went to Garside.
Yeah.
I remember Garside. We played against you guys a few times. I was a Fremont guy, so
Oh yeah. Yep.
and played softball and then high school was Bonanza.
Yep.
Wow, Bonanza.
Back in the old '80s.
Old Valley High was me.
That's where my wife went.
Oh, did she? Okay,
Yep.
she's a Viking too, and
She's a Viking too.
you're one of those Bonanza, or whatever they're called. I don't even know.
Bengal for
Bengals.
life.
There you go. Okay. What did you do in high school? What were the things you got interested in? Were you in band? Were you in?
Yep. I was considered a band geek. I was always played drums and percussion since I could hold drumsticks at a year old, whatever it was. My father was an amazing musician, drummer, and percussionist. Played the Playboy circuit back in the '60s. Was one of the top drummers under Buddy Rich, Gene Krupa, Louis Bowson. He was that guy.
Wow.
Growing up in that, and then I had a grandfather who passed away before I was born. But my understanding was he was a drummer in vaudeville times back in St. Louis in the early teens. So it's in the pedigree. So.
In the bloodstream, man.
And
Yeah.
I was a soccer player, but I had weak ankles, so I rolled my ankles all the time and being a cast. So I wasn't super athletic on that end. And then I got went into college on a music scholarship, gave that up to be a cheerleader and a mascot. And that's how I met my wife. She was my cheer partner. And then here we are. I'm coaching now, still involved with cheerleading. Yeah.
Well, don't go past that so fast. Let's talk about your cheerleading time there at UNLV. What years were you at UNLV, and and what was you? We call it the mascot, but you were the shark, right?
Yeah. I am the first and only person ever to be a mascot based on a coach, because they called him Tark the Shark. He's sucking on a towel because his mouth would get dry. And his name was Tarkanian, so somebody came up with a rhyme, Tark the Shark, and that's how it evolved. And then I was that guy in that 7-foot rubber shark suit,
Yeah,
jumping around like a fool.
Went to many of basketball games, and I probably saw you running around in your uniform there.
Yep.
What years was that?
That was from. See, I went out there on a band scholarship fall of '88, played in the marching band, one of the symphonic bands, and then the pep band for the following semester. And then that was in '89. March of '89, I became the mascot down in Long Beach at the tournament because we had two different drummers. So they were like, yeah, Beau, whatever, we need somebody, go ahead, jump in the suit. And I jumped in, and it became history.
Yeah.
It got a little silly. And
Well, that's the whole part of that, is doing stuff like that. Now you were there for the championship time then.
Yep. So
That is-
1990 and 91, I was the guy in the shark suit in Denver when we won, and in Indianapolis when
Duke beat us.
I'll just leave it at that.
Leave it, Duke. Duke. Yeah. Well, we got a little. I think we got a little bit arrogant on that one. We got a little bit uppity on the. We're so good. We beat these guys last time by 30. We're going to kick their butt again. And Duke was hungry.
Yeah.
They wanted payback.
They definitely did.
That spanking that they got it the year before. So.
Yeah.
It happens, man. Any team can lose any time. All it takes is just one good night or one bad night, and boom, it's over.
That's it. Lived it. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, we all couldn't believe it too. We figured it was going to be a 2 in a row,
Yeah.
And I told people when we were watching the Duke game, the second one, I was like, we're going to lose this one. They go, oh, man, we beat these guys by 30. I said, these guys don't have the same fire in them.
Right.
I'm looking at, all the guys on the team, and I'm going, they're not fired up like they were last year. Last year, man, these guys were on fire. Said
It was.
they're not. They don't have that look like they're hungry. But I'm looking at Duke and going, oh crud, these guys are like Revenge City.
Yeah, it was interesting though because at the time I want to say there were so many trips that I was just lucky to go on, but I think that was one where we literally had to fly around one or two tornadoes to get to Indianapolis because the weather was so it was one of those. Then the band was there, the whole cheer team. obviously the basketball team, that's the reason we were there. But it seemed like at the time there were so many people that had that flu that was going around, and I think that contributed to a lot of it. And I have some other opinions on that, but I'll just.
Was there some of the guys on the team had the flu?
That's what my understanding.
Yeah.
Was, yeah.
And that will do it. All you need is a couple guys not feeling at their top, man, and it won't do it. So, yeah, and that's probably what I saw. But I was looking at them, when they're doing the warm up and stuff. I'm like, oh man, these guys don't look like they're on it, But hey, that's history. Can you believe how many years ago that was? 35 years ago.
Years ago, yeah.
Wow.
It goes by way too fast.
But you were there with Tarkanian. That's so amazing.
Yeah.
I got
incredible times. Best ticket in Vegas. Like literally, you could not buy a ticket to the game. It was sold out. It was the hottest thing in Vegas. We didn't have the pro teams back then. This was the '80s. Vegas was still probably 500,000.
Yeah.
Maybe 800,000 in the whole valley at the time.
Maybe that. I think it's closer to 500,000. It took us into the mid 90s to hit the million mark.
Okay. And so, we had all the amazing shows in Vegas back then. You could get tickets any night there. UNLV basketball game, you couldn't get a ticket. It was unreal times.
Yeah. Well, that was it. Rebel basketball ruled this town.
Yes.
It was, the football, not so much.
No.
Baseball, they were pretty good in baseball, but it wasn't the basketball stuff.
Right.
Yeah. Thomas and Mack, man, they could have had it twice the size that it is, and they could have sold it out, no problem. Yeah, it was the place to be on a game night,
And I was so lucky to be just a small part of that, to look back and people go, oh my God, it's one of the most recognizable mascots in history.
Yeah. Which
is hilarious. A shark. Like, what? But, it's a cartoon character. You just make it come to life.
And they don't have that now. They have the.
They don't have a mascot at all. They got rid of it.
What happened to the Rebel?
That whole.
Oh, it offended somebody?
Yes. Yep. So they got rid of it. Yep.
This show, I usually don't talk politics with people, but come on, really?
Yes. Yep. I have to bite my tongue on that one too.
Yeah, and I get it. Like I say, this is an entertainment show, but sometimes you hear stuff you have to just go, really?
Yeah.
Is that how stupid we've become? Yes.
Unfortunately, that is the case.
Because someone was offended by the Rebel?
Yeah. Yeah.
Gives me a brain tumor.
Yes.
Oh, well. So, college. What did you do after college? You graduated after running around in a shark's outfit, eating cheerleaders and swallowing them whole. And
Yep.
That always cracked me up when you sit there and the cheerleaders, you just go and chomp them and they'd right into the suit with you.
Yeah, that was what was cool. That suit was big enough
stuff.
to be able to do that gag, and it was amazing.
Yeah, some funny stuff.
It took me quite a while to get out of school because I was, college days back then, just screwing around. I wound up going to Japan with UNLV's band in the middle of, taking semesters off and pushing classes and this and that. But I wound up going over for 2.5 months, living in an amusement park, playing drums, dancing, fronting the band, acting in a little Gundam show that they had back then, and just had a blast.
Wow.
Had a blast. Been able to do so
Where
much.
in Japan?
We were down south on the island of Kyushu in a place called Omuta. Arouse City. It's kind of, I want to say it was an hour train ride from Fukuoka, and I think the other way was Kumamoto, and then around the bay. It took us 3 hours to get there. We went to Nagasaki, so it's on that island.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting, huh?
Oh,
How was the
awesome.
culture,
Absolutely insane. Like back in the 80s, it was something else, man. Something that.
What was the difference, between Japan and their culture and our culture? Just what, because you were young and you were obviously in your 20s and you're in Japan, you're doing all these things, and you are an American, bigger than all these guys running around, so you stick out, kinda.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit, and
especially when you've got rollerblades, and I'm 6'1" as it is, and then I put rollerblades on, so I'm 6'4", and I'm rollerblading down cobblestone streets out in the middle of the country. And the looks and It was wild.
Crazy American, huh?
It was wild. And then you go down into, like I said, Fukuoka, which was a major city. It's kind of like the Tokyo of the area, metropolitan area. And you had the most incredible electronics you've ever seen with the technology in stores back then. It was so different. You go out in the country and you're in rice fields and cobblestone streets and knowing the history of samurai and learning all that stuff. And then you go into the major cities and you're like, it just doesn't compute.
Yeah.
The cultural difference just within,
just
15
just
20
between
miles.
yeah, exactly, just between a
Unreal.
little place, because all of a sudden you're in just another major city.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
That would be interesting. That would be really cool, That's,
Great times, man. I've been very fortunate to be able to do the things that I've done in my life. You just kind of don't think about it a lot until you do something like this, and you start reminiscing, and you just go, "Wow, I've been able to do a lot of stuff, more than probably 99% of population on Earth."
yeah. Yeah, and because a lot of the people on this planet, we'll just call it this planet, they don't go out and do strange, bizarre things.
Especially in entertainment.
In entertainment, we call it normal.
Yes. Yep.
But around the world, everybody looks at entertainment as this weird, strange thing that they like to go see, but they can't imagine doing something in it, working in it, and being a part of it.
Especially as long as, I've been in entertainment literally my whole life.
Yeah.
Whether it's on stage performing, backstage teching, setting the shows up, running the shows, tearing them down, being in process of helping build shows, coming up with ideas, and just all-encompassing entertainment. I've been so lucky.
It's a magical business.
It really is.
When you get into the right groove and the right flow on stuff, man, it is transcendent in so many ways. You get to do so many amazing and mind-blowing things.
Right.
And
just the people we meet too is incredible.
oh yeah, all the performers, and it's a different breed. All of us in entertainment, we're a different breed than most of the population. So
Yes.
everyone does look at us like we're kind of weird, I guess.
We are to some degree or,
Yeah,
or another.
We are. So after your time in Japan,
Yeah.
came back to the States, and you did what?
Tried to pull my head out to get finished with school and get that degree. Just get that piece of paper. Took 7 years, but I did.
You got? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah. So I've got a degree in, of all things, communication, emphasized public relations, which I never used because I've always been in entertainment.
Yeah.
But it was kind of the quickest and easiest way at the time for me to get that piece of paper
Just to
and get
finish
out
it off.
because I had played around a little too long in school.
Yeah, 7 years. Yeah, you're a narf, aren't you?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
7 years to get a 4-year degree. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
not
that's-
that's not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad at all.
Well, like I said, I took a semester off and went to Japan. I took a semester off and opened up the old, MGM now. I guess it was the newer MGM back then, bartending and bar back. And then I was like, oh, I got to go back to school. I probably should finish. And then finally I was like, all right, let's grind it out. The last year I did and finally got it out.
Good for you, man. Got that piece of paper on your wall that's
Useless. Yes.
useless to some degree, considering what you're doing right now.
Yeah.
But you think a communication degree. That's what entertainment is. You're communicating with people. We're doing it right now.
Yeah.
This is communication. So, how did you get involved in the hall? And start working out of the hall. What was your progression into showbiz? As far as back, Local 720 or Rhino or whatever.
Yeah, I had been setting up backline gear for my dad. Previously stated him as a musician, drummer. He would book gigs. I'd go out at literally 9, 10 years old, set up the drums, help set up the PA, help the guys with guitar amps, bass amps, that kind of stuff. And then he would call me up on stage, and I would play a few songs. And then at 11, he called me up, and he goes, all right, son, I booked 2 gigs. You're playing one of them. I'm playing the other. The bartender's going to pay you. You're going to pay the guys. The horn player's going to take you home. I'll see you in the morning. It's like, okay. So I went and played, I think it was like a VFW, Veterans of Foreign War. And, at 11 years old, just playing all the old jazz standard music and just sitting back and just kind of swinging the band. And then, I played throughout high school. I would say probably every 3-4 months, I would play 1 or 2 nights, in junior high and high school.
Professionally, getting paid and stuff like that, yeah.
Yep. And then I would play in, the marching band and the symphony band at school and that kind of jazz band. And then I went to college playing. And then I got into, my dad called me one time. He goes, "Hey, son, they need a bunch of guys down here. Run down to the hall, fill out some paperwork, and then they'll call you out." Well, they called me out, and the first gig I did was in December, and it was on the old roof of the Sands overlooking the volcano for the Mirage, because they were getting ready to introduce the Mirage. So they were having a party up there, and I went up there and set up some of the PA and backline, and it was a midnight call till 4 a.m. I got home, and I told my dad, I'm like, "I'm staying in school. If this is it, no, I'm staying in school." So then I wound up doing some rock and roll stuff out at Thomas and Mack while working at UNLV. And then in that was fall of '88 when I did that call. And then I did a few little one-offs here and there. And then I think in '92, I got a phone call to go do some rigging. And I told my dad, I go, "I don't know nothing about that." He goes, "Oh, you'll fine. Report to a guy named Jeff Ranger. He'll take care of you." And I showed up at Bally's in the old Black Hole area, and I met this guy, Jeff Ranger, and he took me under his wing and taught me a bunch of rigging. And that's kind of like it just all progressed
started
through.
coming into that from there. He's actually coming in tomorrow for his interview.
The guy is
Yeah.
unreal. Just such an incredible dude.
Yeah, and he
Walking encyclopedia. The guy is just unreal.
yeah, and because he came into the business in this room.
Yeah, I remember.
Town, because he did the Dancing Waters for Liberace. So that's way back in the 75, 76, 7. In that time period, worked with Elvis, all these guys. So, yeah, I'm getting a lot of these guys coming in back in that time period that worked with Elvis and worked with Liberace and stuff. Because this room's got the history.
Right.
This is Elvis's room.
Right.
It was built for Elvis. So
Yeah, crazy. Just insane.
Yeah.
Knowing the history of that here.
So then you started doing rigging. So you learned how to. Obviously, you learned how to do the high rig, the climbing, and whew,
Yeah,
it was easier in your 20s and 30s, wasn't it?
Oh my gosh, I can't do it now. I'm too big and fat. I just can't. Plus, all the rooms that we used to climb in, too many guys were going in the ceiling that should not have been there. They've had horrible accidents, so then they've gone up and put permanent points in most places, and basically they'll send out a drawing to whoever's coming and going, "This is the only place you can rig. That's it." Whereas before we would climb and make everything happen, and now it's the industry. Like we were talking a little bit before we started the podcast, things have changed in a lot of places.
Yep.
No,
I had to go hang a point out there because TJ was out in the middle of nothing, and TJ wasn't sure he could get out to it. So, so I climbed up and I did it. And it was it was a hard point. It was one point. It took me a half hour to put it in because I had to do a swing out, connect in, swing out, connect in, swing out, connect in,
Yes.
and by the time I get the point in, I get that done, and I get swing back, swing out, swing back, and then climb down the beam and stuff like that. I got down and I was winded, I was sweating. I was like, I used to do this all day long. I've done this for a half hour, and I'm whooped.
Yeah, it's definitely a young man's game. That's for sure.
I was like 58 or something like that. I'm like,
wow.
I'm not doing this anymore. Call some youngsters in to do this crap.
Yeah. Yes.
And it is. It's a young guys. The climbing stuff is young guys.
Oh, for sure.
It's hard. And I'd forgotten. Because I hadn't done it in forever.
Right. And the mind tells you, and the body's like, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the whole thing. You're getting, I used to do this all the time. You get up there and go, what am I doing up here?
Yes.
Hanging out over the audience 50 feet in the air and on a strap, basically. And
yeah.
We used to do it all the time.
But what's crazy for, again, the average normal person, for us, that's just another day in the park.
Yep.
Because we've been doing it for so long. The stuff that we've done, and I've explained, to my wife and kids some of the things that I've done. And they just didn't grasp it until I brought my boys out to some gigs and they saw it and they're like, holy cow, Dad, I can't believe you used to do that kind of stuff. Yeah, just show must go on.
Yeah.
You have to do what needs to be done to make the show happen.
Yeah, my wife was like, don't tell me what you do.
Yeah, yeah. That too.
She's like, I don't want to know. Don't tell me.
Yeah, yeah.
And to me, boy, I was just walking around up there on this thin piece of metal up there, 30 feet over the stage.
Yep, yep. It's just
It was
it's
normal.
Normal, yeah, yeah.
Walk a pipe. We used to
Yes.
walk pipes, up in the air, get
yeah,
out there to do something because something was frozen up and stuff. And,
Yeah, it's beautiful too because when we used to climb, bring some of the guys in and go, yeah, see that water pipe right there? Yeah, that's the sprinkler system for fire. Yeah, you got to climb that. Wait, what? Oh yeah, that little 1/4 inch all thread over there. We climb up those also. Wait, what? Yep, that's the way you climb up. If you can't climb up the I-beam normal way, you climb up a water pipe, and you just pray the thing don't break on you.
yeah, and don't snap off or something.
Yep.
But that's what it was. That's what we did. So,
Yeah.
was your dad? We're going to talk about his dad just a little bit here. The old Gummer.
Yes.
That was my nickname for him. Hey, Gummer.
Yes.
And he'd flip me off or whatever.
When he can hear you.
Yeah, when he could hear me. Yeah, I love your dad, man. But did he get into the hall first, right?
Yeah, he got in. He was, like I stated earlier, a musician, played on the Playboy circuit back in the 60s. In the 70s, slowed down, but he played, the first 6 years of my life, I didn't even know I had a dad because he was on the road. He was on the road 10, 11 months out of the year playing music all over the country and up in Canada. And we moved out here. I'm not sure. I know it was for a job, but I'm not exactly sure which one. But we moved out here to Vegas, and he was an iron worker. So he worked with the ironworkers local out here. And he had a bunch of guys saying, hey, man, you need to get into the stagehand, go to the stagehand union. No, I'm an iron worker. I'm fine. Well, basically, he wound up finding out in, I want to say like 85 or 86, he finally came down and did some stuff through the hall, signed up and started doing stuff, and then he wound up getting on Siegfried and Roy when they went into the Mirage.
Okay.
So they were doing 18-hour days with an 8-hour turnaround for 7 months straight.
Yeah.
No days off. They'd work 18 hours. They'd go home for 8 hours. They'd come back. And anybody that knows anything about this business, you get in a groove where you don't know what day it is.
Yeah.
You really don't know if it's 8 a.m. or 8 p.m. because you're doing those wild hours, putting shows in. And he wound up doing that. And then, again, in 80, I want to say that 88 is when he called and said, hey, they're looking for guys. Just go down and see what happens. And I saw what happened. It was like, no, I'm going to stay in school.
Yeah.
And then here I am 35 years later,
Still doing it.
still doing it.
Yeah. Well, those kind of calls are the junk calls that they send out, the
yeah.
newer guys on and stuff like that. They save the good fat calls for the guys that have been around a long time. You have to work,
and
you
it
have to
should
work
be.
your way into that.
Exactly.
That's what it is. You got to build your way up. You got to get your name known out there. You got to become somebody. I mean, that's just the way it is.
Right.
And so, so I'm over here working. I took over here in 94. And I think it was a couple of years later I started having your dad popped in on some call with Walter Wynn and all these other guys. And then I think a little while after that I had you started coming in. Your dad
Yeah.
told me about you and you started coming in here. I don't remember what the year was, but you started.
I'm not sure either. I don't know if it was late 90s or definitely early 2000s.
Yeah, I'm thinking it was late 90s because I started using, because we transformed the stage from the Starlight Express show
Yep.
into a normal stage. So we started doing a lot of different shows, and I had to have a much bigger crew on all these shows.
That
And
was such a fun
98.
rig. That was such a fun rig to climb on, though. It was here
yeah.
for so many years afterwards. It was just so great.
And that was 97 was 97, 98 is when it got transformed over. So, and I think that's about when you came. So it'd been the late 90s, and then you're here quite a bit. And
Yep.
yeah. And I think you and your buddy Bill Chuma used to come in here, and
Yep.
crazy times, those late 90s, man.
Oh yeah, definitely.
The guys that came in
I'm
here were,
I'm so glad that we didn't have the cell phone technology back then that we do now. I'd probably be in jail. You know,
yeah.
just some of the silly stuff that we used to do that people would be like, "What? What? No, that they got to go to jail for that."
Yeah. Different times.
Nothing bad, but just like being facetious.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah, crazy stuff, being able to mess with each other and stuff. Those days are all gone.
Yeah, everybody's too sensitive now.
The way Walter and I used to mess with each other.
Oh my gosh,
Walter Wynn was a black man, and he would mess with me. I'd mess with him. We'd call each other all kinds of names and laugh about it. And
yeah. Oh, he was a great guy. Oh, he was something else.
But if anybody would have hurt us today, we'd have both been fired and probably in prison the rest of our lives, both of us.
Yeah, just for saying things. Yes.
Yeah, just for messing with each other.
Yeah,
So.
yeah.
I miss those days. I miss the times
Absolutely.
when we could do things like that, and
When people
have to worry
actually
about
had a sense of humor and could dish it out and take it.
yeah. So, Beau, we're going to come to the end of this first episode right now, and then we're going to come back in just a minute with episode 2 and carry on the talk with Beau Doyle and go on with more stuff. Talbot, take it away.
This is the Craig L. Hayes Show.